Hi, welcome back to Word Magic. Apple and I want to welcome you in today, and I'm going to be answering a few reader questions. This will be a bit shorter video than usual, so stick around. Hit the notifications button below to sign up to my channel if you haven't, and the ringer bell so you get notifications of when I have a new video out, and we'll get started here in just a minute. So for those of you who need a little introduction first, I am Yasmine Galenorn. I'm a New York Times, USA Today, and Publishers Weekly bestselling author of over 65 books. I write urban fantasy and paranormal romance. And, I've been in the business 24 years, 20 of it in traditional publishing, and mostly with New York publishers, and over 3 now in indie, where I'm very happy. And so that gives you a little background. So shall we get to the questions today? Before I start, if I sound a little odd today, I need some dental work done. Had a bit of a scrape with one of my teeth, and it's causing a little bit of a lisp. So if you notice me talking a little odd today, it's partially because I'm talking around some dental issues. Lovely. Anyway, so yeah, as I said today, a bit of a short video, mainly to answer a few questions. So we'll start with a very simple one. Lauren asks me, how many words are in one chapter on average? That depends on the chapter. That depends on the author. My chapters run between about 3,000 to 5,000 words per chapter. Some run over, some run a little under. Depends on the book. I've seen some chapters that have 2 or 3 sentences in them from some authors. So there's no standard answer to that. But my chapters do run, 3 to 5,000 words per chapter. So there's that question. Let's see. Has Yasmine considered writing a setting other than the Pacific Northwest or Puget Sound? Not really. I thought about it, but I think that I am most comfortable writing about a region that I know about. And otherwise, like with Otherworld, it's like a place that I have created. Now, a lot of the neighborhoods in my books, some of them are fictional. I put fictional places within the cities, and I put fictional cities within the state. My Chinson China series, Chickasaw, Washington doesn't exist. I had one woman insisting that she had been to Chickasaw, and I tried to tell her, no, there is no such place as Chickasaw, and she was just insistent that she'd been there. But no, there is no Chickasaw. Just like the district the sisters lived in, Bell's Fair, it is not an actual district in Seattle. However, a lot of the places and street names are actual places, and people have navigated around the city using my books, from what I understand. I've gotten several letters to that effect. So that's kind of oddly gratifying in a way, that they can find their way through my books. I use Google Earth to plot out some of the directions. Heather asks, what actual places in the Seattle areas does Yasmine recommend to hang out in? Any favorites? I don't go to Seattle much. I'm on the east side in Kirkland, one of the sister cities in the greater Seattle metropolitan area, and the traffic over to Seattle is insane on most days. So unless we have to go over to Seattle, we don't usually go over there. If we're going on a ferry ride or something, yeah, we go over and take the ferry from the docks. However, if you do go to Seattle and you want to do some touristy stuff, definitely check out Pike Place Market. It's a wonderful place. You can find so many things in there. If you're into herbs and oils and incense, check out Tenzing Momo in Pike Place Market. Watch them throw the fish. That's always fun. You'll be down there on the docks, so you'll be able to see the ferries. Take ferries over to Bainbridge Island. Takes a little while, but Bainbridge Island is gorgeous, and so is the rest of the peninsula over there. If you can possibly plan a couple days over there, I recommend it. Excuse me, I'm a little scratchy today. Aside from the dental issues, I had a reaction last night, and it always leaves me a little scratchy in my throat. So, there are a lot of theaters in Seattle, and I'm not talking cinemas, I'm talking actual theaters. So a lot of shows going on over there. There's the Can in downtown Seattle, and it's burlesque, and they have a lot of fun shows. So look up I think it's just look up Can Seattle and see what they have going. There's an aquarium, and definitely come over to the east side and check out Snoqualmie Falls. It's beautiful up there. I've posted a lot of pictures over the years of the falls and the surrounding area and the Snoqualmie River. So there are so many pretty places to look at, a lot of art museums. There's the Experience Music Project, the EMP, which was originally supposed to be built around Jimi Hendrix, I believe, and now it has a lot of different shows that come in through it. It's had Star Trek shows and stuff come in. That's a place to look at. And Seattle is just a pretty city. For a big city, it really is. But bring your walking shoes, because the slopes and streets in Seattle are extremely steep. It's not a good place for someone with mobility issues. So you'll need to rent a car if you have mobility or back issues. The streets are some of the steepest in the country, and there's a reason that Seattle is called the Little San Francisco, and it's because of the slopes and the grades on the streets. That's another reason why when we get snow, we're paralyzed over here in this area. The entire area is built on rolling hills and fault lines and very steep slopes. So anytime the streets ice up, they're pretty much, you cannot navigate them. Even with chains and snow tires, it's difficult. I got off topic there, but it's a little bit more trivia about the area. So Julia wants to know about the Autumn Lord, if he's a character that I created or if he's a real deity. Was he inspired by any particular deity? He's a character I created, actually. However, he's inspired by my concept of what a deity of the autumn would be, a deity of death. It's like I call him one of the harvestmen. And in a sense, I do believe that he exists in a different frame of reference as the spirit of autumn, as the spirit of the harvest. I would call him the Lord of Fire, when we do our Samhain rituals, our Dung Feast, we call in the Lady of Ice and the Lord of Fire, which to me are the two elemental energies and deities that govern the time of sacrifice, the time of the veil, when the veil lifts. So yeah, in a way, I think he actually exists in a form, but I just sort of gave him the form of the Autumn Lord. Let me see, what else here? Hold on one moment. Desiree asks how I name my characters. I've talked about that in another video, and Jen can probably go through and find out which one, and I think I posted it in some other posts. Would Yasmine ever do a UK tour? I have a condition called histamine intolerance, and which actually we found out recently that it is a bit more extensive. It's actually a condition called mast cell activation disorder, and it makes my body think it's allergic to many, many things. I have a lot of reactions. It can be very dangerous to many foods. Um, I've talked a little bit about this and written about it on my blog, but I my diet is extremely limited. I cannot let myself come in contact with certain things, like the smell of garlic will trigger a reaction for me. So touring is not an option. I don't do tours. I don't go to conventions anymore that are non-local. I will be going to the Emerald City Writers Conference in October, and I'll be part of their Passport to Romance meet and greet. So I'll be there, so take a look on that. We'll get it up on the schedule soon. But no, I'm not going to be touring or doing any traveling anytime soon that I can think of. See, Stan asks, if I notice an error, would you like me to report it or ignore it? If you see a typo, an obvious typo that was not deliberate, send Jen a note. Please don't report it on the Amazon site, because it's a pain in the ass dealing with the reports that come in, and half the time they're not actual errors. So if you notice a typo, or if there really appears to be a glitch in formatting, please report it to Jen. And her email address I'll put in the notes below. Hi, Apple. He likes it when I've gone to the hairdresser. I don't know, I think it's the smell of the shampoo that we use on my hair, but he likes to get up there and move my hair around and redo it for me. Anyway, if you think I should have used a different word, or you think that it wasn't phrased correctly, or something like that, no, it's not your place to report it. That's a choice I've made as a writer. And frankly, I'm not going to adjust my writing because of somebody else's decision on what they would have done. So, sorry, no, don't bother reporting that, because nothing will be done and it will be ignored. And I do get people doing that occasionally, and we just delete the emails, because honestly, it's my choice as a writer on what word usage I make, and if it bothers a reader that much, then they need to find another writer to read. Another question I get asked a lot lately is if I'll ever put my books in KU. No. I have a lot of readers on Nook, and some on Kobo, and a lot of readers on iBooks, and KU would limit their ability to get those. And also, I would not make enough money to continue writing. Some people can make a living in KU, but it's not a good idea, in my opinion, to have all my eggs in one basket. I learned that the hard way with publishers. And I want control over pricing. And so what I suggest, if you only want to read books in KU, is find writers who do KU. There are a lot of them, and a lot of good writers do use KU, which is Kindle Unlimited, by the way. And B, ask your library to get them on Overdrive, because I make them available for Overdrive. So they can get the ebooks for Overdrive, and you can read them from the library that way. But otherwise, no, I will not be utilizing KU. I was also asked what called me to the craft. Well, the goddess called me. I was 19. I was in a soccer field, and I heard her calling, and I knew who it was in my heart, in my guts. And basically, she asked if I wanted to come home to her, and I was like, yeah, I am ready to come back to you. I've been a witch priestess in other lives, I know that. Maybe not all lives. I mean, in one life I was a poor Irish girl who died when I was 16 from famine. But it was a mystical experience that brought me into the craft, and that was when I was 19 in 1980. and never regretted it. It's my path, it's my journey. Makes me happy. It makes me feel fulfilled. It makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it keeps me on track. There's no excuses. There's no blaming anybody else. No, no saying, oh, so-and-so talked me into it. It's like one thing I love about the craft is you stand up and you take responsibility for your actions. And you stop blaming other people. Anyway, so yeah, it was a mystical experience out in a soccer field under the full moon, and never looked back. So you can read more about that, by the way, in my book, Embracing the Moon. I have that back out in e-format. We're going to be reformatting it soon and putting it back out in print as well. So I will let you know when that happens. Anyway, so that's enough for today, I think. And more next week, and hopefully I hope to have this dental issue taken care of by next week. If not, it'll be another shorter video next week. My jaw's beginning to ache a little bit, so I'm going to stop talking, and we will pick up next week. Take care.